stuff will shape your consumption. So what uses